So I'm going about my day today, and look at that. The Browns have fired John Dorsey, or they part ways. They always try to clean it up when they say these type of things. They part ways with John Dorsey, and this is on the heels of the Browns firing Freddie Kitchens, and it just goes to show like anytime you're dealing with the Browns, you never know what's gonna happen. Like I think we heard like rumblings a couple weeks ago. Well, not a couple weeks, like a week ago, that they may be looking at John Dorsey as like part of the problem, and it's just it's crazy. Like how you can go from part of the problem to, oh nope, he's out of here. Like John Dorsey, I know he wasn't perfect, which we're gonna go through these two lists by Cleveland.com. Cleveland.com writer Scott Patsko. We're gonna go through these two lists: seven best moves, five worst moves, and I'm gonna let everybody else decide because, like, I just don't understand like how you could ever build any continuity literally, when literally every every 2 years it's a new regime, new GM, new coaches, new players. Like, how do you honestly like think that any type of consistency can happen? Like any quarterbacks or anybody can like really be able to succeed in this type of offense. Or it's this type of organizational like structure. It's just like you can't compare this to like any other organization other than maybe like the Raiders in the 2000s. But like it's new coach, new GM, new coach, new GM, new quarterback, new coach, new GM, new quarterback. And with somebody like Baker Mayfield, this is his second year. Now he's going to have to learn a totally different offense. He's going to have new leaders. They're probably going to end up trading Odell Beckham this offseason. So he's going to have less weapons than he had this year. Um, unless we're going to get somebody in that's going to be able to like be a stability force and have them like stay for get at least a minimum 4 years, a minimum 4 years in the like league, like with us, then there's no way like we're gonna be able to like improve upon anything. Like it's just like the same old with this team, same old. And when it comes to, you just gotta think, look at how many different coaches we've had this decade. Here we go. Look up how many coaches we've had just this decade, not any other decade, not the 2000s, just this decade. It's like it's becoming harder and harder to like be a fan of this team. Like it's almost like you just get used to the suffering. Like, okay, we know we're gonna come in a year, we're gonna underachieve, or we may overachieve, but we still ain't gonna make the playoffs. Even when we do overachieve, we still not gonna make the playoffs. So it's just like, why even bother like rooting for this team? Like these seasons, like literally, it's been like I should be paid to watch these games every week or paid to root for this team actively. Just this decade. So since 2009, 2010, Eric Mangini, Eric Mangini had 2 years, went 10 and 22, fired. Then we had Pat Shermer. He went 9 and 23, fired. Uh, Rod Chazinski, 4 and 12, no shot, fired. Then we had Then we had Mike Pettin, went 2 and 22, fired. Then Hugh Jackson, another coach, 3-36, 3-36-1, fired. Greg Williams went 5-3 to end the season, and he got they basically just amicably parted ways. And then Freddie Kitchens goes 6-10. He's second of this decade in win percentage. Um, Tied with no, he's second, clear second this decade of win percentage with 6-10, which is pathetic, just pathetic. And it's like, how do you expect to keep fans if this is the product we put out every year? Like even somebody like Butch Davis, they killed Butch Davis. Butch Davis was at least 41% win percentage. Like none of these other coaches for this decade have even come close to a 40% win percentage. Like just awful. Like no playoffs, barely in the hunt for the whole decade. I think this season is the longest we've been in the hunt of a playoff berth. This and last season. And this last season was two broken seasons where we had a lot of talent and the coaching staffs and the players, nobody just came to play. Um, Countless quarterbacks. Um, Offensive line, we that was a strength suit. We traded one of our best offensive line to come bring a receiver in, and the receiver does nothing. And I'm an Odell Beckham fan. I would rather. I know I want to keep him, but part of me is just almost like, man, I would rather just root for him from afar. As long as he don't go in the division, then it's like cool. Like just let him go and just get. Hopefully, we can get like a ransom back for him, at least a first round draft pick, more than what the Giants gave up. But it's just like it's just pathetic on all ends. Like pathetic effort, pathetic, pathetic strategy. Can't score in the goal line. Got the a freaking rusher that should have won the rushing title because we should have just gave up on like throwing being a throw first offense and just ran the ball all season. Still couldn't get over it in. And it's crazy. Even in like Odell Beckham, this is a clear down year for him. Still had 1,000 yards receiving. That's just incredible to me. 14-yard average on catches, like, and he wasn't good. Like he wasn't good, and it's still the talent is there. It's just like with the quarterback situation, the play calling situation, all of that. It's just pathetic. You cannot win with a one read quarterback unless you're going to really stack the deck for him and have the play calling match. But let's just go down the list of what this guy says is John Dorsey's 7 best moves as GM. So he traded. This is a good move though. I remember when this happened from the start. I was like, oh, that's a robbery. And there's still some people out there that had hope for Deshaun Kaiser, but traded Kaiser for Demarius Randall, and yeah, Randall has been good like these last 2 seasons. Um, but now his contract is up, and it's almost like it might not happen. Like, well, it's like he might come back, he might not. But these 2 years have been more than we would have got out of Deshaun Kaiser, especially. Um, Traded for Odell Beckham, still a good trade because we didn't give up much. Um, yeah, we only traded that year 17th pick. Um, and Jabril Peppers, who trust me, he's just not that good. Little guy, he got some muscle on him, but he's a little guy stuck in between two positions, not fast enough to be a safety, or not quick enough and good enough cover person to be a safety, not big and strong enough to be a linebacker. So he's never like he couldn't be a punt returner, which he was good at in college. He just never was good here, and he was a Michigan player, so it's just like he was down from the start. Even if he had to be great to get people on the side, he just wasn't. Got a third rounder for Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson, um, Duke Johnson ended up starting 10 games for the Texans, but he wasn't even the best running back that they got from the Browns. Carlos Hyde ended up having a great season for the Texans, and they are going to make the playoffs, of course. But now the Browns have an extra third round pick in this draft just because we traded Duke Johnson at the beginning of the season. Um, and I don't think people think like Duke Johnson would have been this big help for the Browns. I don't see that. He just was never he never was that good on the Browns. This would have been an extra safety valve, which we really didn't need. We needed to have more big plays. Sign Kareem Hunt. That's just an incredible. That was incredible. I know he had the off-field injuries, but once he came back, he was able to cure some of those red zone problems that we had. Even though they never really truly got cleared, he was able to help out with those. Training for Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry has been incredible for the Browns these past 2 seasons. Two state Pro Bowl leagues. Even though I don't think of him as this great teammate, like how he was portrayed on Hard Knocks. Um, I don't see that as his strength. I see his strength as he's just a player that's gonna go out there and play hard every game and block and do the little things. And but he is a player that struggles. He struggles with the drops. I know that for sure. And he wasn't able to get the situation with him, Odell, and Baker perfected. Like he wasn't able to like push that through and actually be able to get a strong season from all three together. But he did have a strong season this year. He was actually the number one option. But it's still crazy to think that Baker Mayfield had Jarvis Landry and Odell and other weapons, Kareem Hunt and Chubb, and still had a subpar season where he only threw 22 touchdowns, like barely won a game. Drafted Nick Chubb, of course, that was an incredible draft pick. Um, Never thought that he could be this good. I always knew that he was going to be a solid player, but he was like incredibly good. He's incredibly good this last year, these last 2 years, and he's been one of the best running backs as a runner in the league. And you can't take that away from him. He's literally been one of the best running backs. So hold on, let me check. Let's say I'm good over here. I wonder if I take it out. Maybe if I hmm, outputs. Video, that's perfect. And my audio bit rate is at 128. Let's see what happens if I just go to 160. Okay, it says I'm back, I guess. But yeah, Nick Chubb was a great pick, and then drafting Baker Mayfield. This is an interesting one because I know Baker Mayfield was great his rookie year, and this is just you can just see this as a sophomore slump, but it's a big drop off. One, two, unless we're gonna need him to like show us like next season that he is the player that we once drafted. So I'm still keeping the table on him, but he has been an okay draft pick, and I think he's been better than I think he's been better than Sam Darnold and but not that much better. Definitely better than Rosen, who was in contention for number one pick, I think. Um, but not better than Lamar Jackson either. So passing up on Lamar Jackson and passing up on Sam Darnold could end up being a mistake, but we won't know yet. It's too early, but he is at least a starter level quarterback. Starter level quarterback. But yeah, now let's look up John Dorsey's five worst things. No, I will not. So now we got John Dorsey's five worst. Oh yeah, drafting Antonio Callaway was a terrible. He was a terrible pick from the start. He should have been cut after he faced this 4 game suspension this year. And then so it's so much. I'm gonna just read the paragraph just so y'all know how much fuckery the Browns went through with Antonio Callaway. Um, let me make it look. All right, so we drafted Antonio Callaway. Boom. Immediately, he comes out. He plays his rookie season. He was inconsistent, but you can see the flashes. Good speed, good route runner. Terrible, like he dropped a lot of passes, and he showed inconsistency that rookie had. Okay, boom. Then he was suspended for 4 games for the substance abuse policy. This was coming into the season. Just boom, suspended 4 games. All right. So once you suspended 4 games, you should be a short leash, right? Nope. He was out of shape during camp, and he was having to like play playoff games and play preseason games, and it was like basically playing him the full game because he was so out of shape that they was trying to get him into shape before he was going to serve a 4 game suspension, and then he would play again, and then he was facing another 10 game suspension, and then that's when they finally waived him. Even after he came back, got benched because he was just in the doghouse, and he just never played. Um, Austin Corbett, I mean, like he just didn't play well. Like nothing really, nothing really to talk about with that. He was a guard. He was drafted in the second round. We drafted Chubb. Then we drafted Corbett, then Chubb, and Corbett never really got won the starting job and got traded. Then yeah, we never strengthened the offensive tackle position. So we had Robinson play, and Robinson was like up and down at best. Desmond Harrison from last year was awful, and if we would have had a better left tackle, I think last year we could have actually made the playoffs. But it's also some of that wasn't his fault. The fact that Joe Thomas retired, that was like a blow, and that was like something that wasn't anybody expecting. So like it's kind of like he was put in his bind, but he didn't do the things that you needed to do to fix the offensive line. He should have traded for a left tackle. I remember it was Jeremy Tunzel. He was available, and we never even kicked the cans on that. We should have got a left tackle win this year, and that was part of the reasons why Baker Mayfield always seemed to roll right. It's his tendency, but it's also because the left tackle play was so bad to start off the season. It's like it forced him to into doing that as well. And traded Kevin Zeitler for Olivier Vernon. Yeah, I just didn't like that trade at all. We didn't have our offensive line wasn't that strong from the start, and then it got worse and worse, and then it's like we got all these different people we trying into his position, and it never failed. And Olivia Vernon wasn't that great of a pickup for us. And then lastly, of course, I made a video about this a couple of days ago. He hired Freddie Kitchens, which was awful. Should have never happened. It was the move that sealed his fate, I think, because other people in the organization wanted a different coach, and he was dead set on hiring Freddie Kitchens. If he would have just, if he could have just brung the same thing back, I think it wouldn't have been as much of a problem. Like if he would have brung What is his name? Just had this up. I would use that one though. If he would have brung my guy from Bounty Gate back, which I didn't want. I wasn't a fan of that either. Like I just wanted us to go hire the best coach we could at Greg Williams. If you'd have brought Greg Williams back, then I don't think he would be getting fired today. And I think the Browns would have actually won at least 8 games. Like if we'd have had the same coaching staff, we'd have won at least one more game than we did last year, or a half a game better than we did last year. So I think that sealed his fate as well. Um, my homie Saints to talk about some he really depressed over this Dorsey shit. But like it was the slimmer hope that we hoped we had when we got him, and he made good moves. It's just like it's more than being a GM than picking players. Like he's the perfect personnel person, like player personnel. He knows what to do. He knows what talent is, but he's somebody that needs to be on strictly on the player side, not over all the big decisions. Or he needs to have that. Um, he needs to have that dual leadership role, like somebody that's going to be organizational, and then he help pick the players, or he can pick the players that he wants, but then he stopped from making certain deals because it's like, okay, you got to go through these people to confirm what you're gonna do. And yeah, he came in. He came in with a lot of cachet. He did some good, great things. I think his great outweighs his bad. That's why I still don't know if I 100% disagree with. I don't 100% agree with the fire. And like, I can see why they did it. Paul DePodesta is another one of those guys where he's like under that he's under the analytics branch, and he made a couple of the trades that helped us get certain players. But I can also see why we just didn't why they had to let him go, and also the fact that he would be picking the next coach because he didn't want to get a lesser role. That's another that plays another big role into it. Um, yeah, he lost his clout after his hire of Freddie Kitchens. Basically, everybody in the front office, well, it's some people in the front office that knew what was going to happen, and they saw it ahead of time. And he got into a power struggle with Paul DePodesta. So, and DePodesta wanted to choose an offensive coordinator that had already been an offensive coordinator and who was a candidate this year, but Kevin Stefanski, who did a great job, I think, with the Vikings, and especially with that, with Kirk Cousins as the as a quarterback. Anytime you get a Kirk Cousins led offense to do that well and have Kirk Cousins playing like a legit Pro Bowl, like what the Pro Bowl used to be, and he has all this experience, he got an analytics background. I think we should have took a bigger look at him back when we had the chance. Back when we had the chance this last year, this last springtime, but last winter time. So it's just interesting. He had that staunch football background. He had been an offensive coordinator, even if it's for a year. He had been an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. So he could have probably came in and actually helped with Baker Mayfield. He also helped. He was the quarterbacks coach when they got Keenum to have his best season. So I just don't understand it. Just don't understand it. And as soon as he came in, I remember this. As soon as he came in, because they had John DeFilippo at first in 2018. As soon as he came in, he changed the offense around totally, and it just became a much better offense. So like, we should have just been more willing to like take chances on different players. Different coaches instead of just going in and hiring who's already there. Like I just always think we should have been ready to take those chances. Um, Yeah, said the Browns weren't up for a tug of war. Because remember, if you know anything about the Browns last year in 2018, there was a tug of war between Ty Haley and Hugh Jackson, and both of them got fired So it's almost like you see the same thing happening just on a higher level. And then we were just so disorganized and undisciplined. Part of the reason is the players that Dorsey brought in, but part of the reason is the fact that he hired the coach, which you can put on both. You can put some of the liability on both of them, on both of those things on him. So yeah, yeah. Dorsey was second to last. I mean, Baker Mayfield was second to last in QB rating. Got to get him back on track. We got to get somebody in that's gonna be able to play to his benefits and see his weaknesses. But it's all like, and then you gotta think if the Browns are gonna bring in one of these head coaches that has like a lot of cachet and everything, they're gonna want their own people in there. So somebody like Josh McDaniel, he gonna come with one of the Patriots guys, and he gonna want to have his own person in there that's gonna be able to actually listen to him or anything. If somebody like Urban Meyer's gonna come, he gonna want to hire his own person. He gonna have his own input in the draft as well. So it's about like what we gonna do next. It's all about having like a grounded organization that has a good structure that's going to be stable and that's going to not make like rash moves, and that's going to build through the line and through and help out our talent. It's just so important. This next like GM head coach position is probably going to be like if they don't get it right this time, they're going to lose a lot of fans. Like a lot of Browns fans, especially around my age, are fed up. Like we don't have to root for these teams like back in the day where if you lived in a certain area, if you lived in a certain area, these was the only games you was gonna get. So you had to root for these teams. Like there's other teams out here, there's other things that you could be rooting for. Like none of the other organizations in our city are this badly ran. Even the Cavs, like you could see the light with the Cavs, like but like the Browns is just it's just a bad organization. So just interested, just really interested to see where they go from here, what's gonna happen, and uh, hopefully some this new coaching hire will be okay. I'm gonna come back and do a video on more candidates, and go in depth on each candidate and what they'll bring to the table as much more news come out. And thanks to Cleveland.com for me using your articles. I think the articles were done well, and they gave some good information. I'm out.